Did you wake up today asking whether this YouTube channel has goals and a purpose? If you didn't, I've got you covered. Well, have I got the episode for you? This is a behind the scenes episode, or maybe I should title this, What's in That Milkshake Anyways? Every now and then I get asked if there exists a nautical sea chart or roadmap for this channel. So if you're intrigued about what a god of the sea who sometimes materializes as a talking milkshake is thinking with regards to the longer term with the Unusual Due Diligence channel, well, you've come to the right place. It'll also be brief, but it might also be instructional. And it could also not be either of those things, but I will be talking about the future. And the future is an interesting place. In the months or even years ahead, it will be interesting to see how the channel evolves from what I'm about to share. Let's start with vision. When setting out a longer term vision, one of the ideas is to make use of something called a vision board. What is a vision board? Well, it is, quote, a vision board is usually a collage of images that represent goals and dreams. It can include cutout pictures from magazines and words that help inspire you to manifest your dreams and get where you want to go, end quote. There's lots of ways to do this, but here on Unusual Due Diligence, I'm going to present the vision for this channel by way of the bingo sheet. Do you know the origin of bingo? It dates back to the 1500s as a game of chance, and really, what else is a vision board other than a game of chance? The game is the game of life. So I have on the screen a bit of history about the early game of bingo. I won't be going into much detail on the history of bingo because there's just too much to say, and I need the time to cover how the vision board conceptually works for this channel. Here's how the bingo vision board works. You put on the board big ideas. In the center, that's the moon. So let's start with that. What is the moon for this channel? Well, the channel defines moon as wild card and the best possible outcome. That means, what's the best outcome? That's the moon. It's that simple. With that in mind, let's go through the vision board for this channel. We need to tackle the big one, and that's to talk about the evolution of the channel on YouTube. There are specific goals that I need to hit within YouTube. It's nice, really it is, that YouTube sets these because it gives anyone running a channel a kind of broad outline in terms of here's where you need to be. For someone at my level, it means getting to 1,000 subscribers and then 4,000 watch hours. I have full confidence in getting to 1,000 subscribers. That's really not the challenge for me. What is the challenge is producing content that's long enough and fun enough and high value enough that I can meet and exceed the 4,000 watch hour goal. At the time of this recording, I'm about halfway there, so I still have more to grow and learn. It's probably not a surprise, but I've noticed that my better produced shows, well, they perform better. So I just need to get good, or at least keep improving. It includes the source material. The material the show uses. If you've seen my prior episodes, you'll observe that I tend to make use of a lot of different props and collectible pieces. The key requirement to making that all work is to ensure that as part of the entertainment and education of this channel, I'm told, is that I need to offer them for sale in some sort of capacity. If you navigate to the community tab of the channel, you'll see I have a poll about whether to open an online store, just like this catalog selling toys. And if I'm selling toys, why not have some custom ones made? And that's why this item here is a plushie, but it might be more. It'd be interesting to learn how to get a custom toy made. I've never done that before. It might be a neat skill to learn. It's probably super trivial and someone out there may even know the 3 simple steps to get it done, but it's new to me. And speaking of new to me, let's talk about Mondays. After Monday episodes drop, I then spend most of my evening, once the sun finally sets on my day, reading comic books. I read a silly amount, including comics, and it's not hard to be inspired by the stories and art and feel a desire to create my own. So at some point, this channel will have an online comic just to get me situated with the rhythms of producing that sort of content, followed by a manga comic book. The skills in producing that feed back into the channel as a planned exercise because it'll help me better organize animated content overall. My hunch is there will be lessons learned that translate directly into improving the quality of the show. You see, it's like this, improving the show quality. As I continue to improve my production skills and such, at some point, I'll be able to more seriously entertain getting an animated TV show on one of the broadcast networks. I have a specific reason for wanting to reach that sort of deal. Adult Swim is an adult-themed mixed content that airs on Cartoon Network. It occurred to me one night that the channel would legitimately do well on their network, but making it effective would require a couple key twists to air for a broader audience. Someone might ask, quote, why in the world do you want to have a show on Adult Swim, end quote. And the answer is access to education. I didn't learn about finance until I was much older in life, and it's still mysterious, but less so. What appeals to me is the idea of educating even more people in the world on our favorite topics. Doing Adult Swim in a more selfish capacity skills me up enough to know how to properly tackle a deal with a streaming company like Netflix. The content would be similar and yet different. I'd want to focus more on the evergreen side, but also a kind of animated context. I go back and forth if it would be fully animated or a crossover like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. After the Netflix and Adult Swim content is under my belt, then it would make sense to then consider a full-length picture to feature in an AMC theater. By then, I should have not only the skills to organize, but the full script of a 2-hour motion picture that would actually lure enough people out of their homes to watch the episode exclusively in the theater. Why show in the theater? Because it's about who I'll become in the journey in getting there, celebrated with a jumbo popcorn and drink. So if I can improve my video production skills and capabilities to seriously entertain these ideas, then not only do you get the information that takes you to the moon, but also means we share our quirky love of all things crypto and stock with future generations. That's why I do try with each episode to try one new technique, either in the production process or the footage itself. The most recent episode featured animated water rendered by computer. I still have a long way to go, but then we don't get to the moon in one shot. Instead, it's deliberately looking to do one new thing with each episode, and that even includes this one. And speaking of crypto and games, this channel has made one game so far. It won't be long from now when a second game is produced, and along those lines, a VR experience of some sort or other. Why make these games or metaverse things? If you're wondering, it is a good question. The reason has to do with reinforcing the animation quality of this show. There's a bizarre crossover of games and media, the techniques and shortcuts, and as I've shared in prior updates, I do use a game engine for a lot of B-roll composition. It's not a big leap from there to make games, and in the process of making those games, I'll gain more skills necessary to further enhance the quality of the production. Looking at this episode, it probably isn't obvious what sort of improvements I made getting this far, and that's okay. Along the way, somewhere in this journey, I'll even figure out how to make sense of the UnDD'er token. My aspiration there remains the same. I'd love to connect this collectible token into your hands. I'm just getting started here. What a weird weekend project that started with a quote, "I'm just gonna try a YouTube video and see what it's all about." End quote. So far, it's an amazing ride. Now we have a lot of aspirations and goals on this vision board, but also there's some room for more. Once these fill in, slowly winning the game of bingo is the game. Who knows what'll happen next? The future is, after all, inherently chaotic, but I do know this. This is Unusual Due Diligence. I am your host, Poseidon. In today's episode, I reviewed the vision board in the form of a bingo game. The same technique should work for you too. Set a vision, outline goals, build a roadmap, start writing down goals to get there, and then last, commit to action. Make waves, my friend.